I am Gino here with a preview of Sunday's Del Mar Derby at Del Mar. This one's going to go as race number 8. So let's take a look at the field and we'll get you set up for this one. I think to the outside, Formidable Man will get some support. It'll probably be Formidable Man and Stay Hot when it's all said and done. Those two are very, very sharp. Both of them coming off of recent victories in prep races for this one. So they can show kind of different dimensions too. They've shown a little bit of versatility, and we'll go through this field in just a moment. But let's see what Timeform US thinks about the pace projector and how this will unfold early on. They have Formidable Man out front early. I think it may be a little bit more tricky than just him winging it out front. Because to the outside, you have Curlin's Chaos, who comes out of a dirt sprint where he showed really good speed and it resulted in a victory for him. Wouldn't be shocking to see him get a little aggressive. And Formidable Man actually showed us that he can come from off the pace in his last start. So while I still think he'll be forward, I wouldn't be shocked to see some pressure from the outside, Curlin's Chaos. Let's get through this field horse by horse, and let's start down on the inside with the number 1 guy named Joe, who comes out of the Ocean side. So in his last start, he was second behind Formidable Man. We see the two of them right there. They were the two horses to the outside. Formidable Man is 2 from the outside, and guy named Joe is on the extreme outside, the number 4 in the replay we're watching right there. And Formidable Man was just able to outfinish guy named Joe. This was really impressive for Formidable Man, but for guy named Joe, this is sort of who he is. He's a late runner. He's a horse who will pick up some pieces. He just doesn't get the chance to win all that often because of his running style. He's at the mercy of pace, shape, and he got the setup last time out, but he was still outkicked by a horse who just was a little bit better that day. So guy named Joe, multiple stakes placed, to me seems like more of an under horse in here, especially if they're not going all that fast early on. The number 2 is Goldfoot. He was asked for speed on July the 21st. In fact, Goldfoot and the rival to his outside, Sketchy, both come out of the same race on July the 21st. They were first and second that day. It was against softer company, so now they will both step up and face tougher and stakes company here. And I just don't know if Goldfoot is a horse who has the running style I'm looking for, because he can be forward, but he's been able to sit close to really soft trips. They'll probably be going a little bit faster than that early on, so he may be kind of pressing and a little up against it. I need to see Goldfoot prove it at this level. And as we move to the 3, Sketchy, I think the same can be said, because Sketchy got a very easy lead against Goldfoot and was still not able to hold that rival off. So I'm not really sure if either of them can get a better trip than they did in their last race when they faced softer company. Both Goldfoot and Sketchy will be stepping up, facing tougher in here, and they will need to improve. Stay Hot feels like one of the real horses to beat in here. Stay Hot is a grade 3 winner, a 4-time stakes winner, 5 for 7 on the turf. And the 2 losses came in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile turf and then on a good turf course at Churchill Downs. So a turf course that he just didn't like. He's so hard to knock. He's run well at Del Mar. And while most of his races, he comes from way out of it, he has actually showed us that if they're going slower early on, he can sit a little bit closer. He's just a horse who knows where the wire is. He likes to win races. And yeah, I think he's a top player in here. No doubt about it. He actually defeated the number 5, who's right next door, and they both come out of the La Jolla that we're looking at right now. Shout out to Bobby throwing us this replay of the La Jolla. Stay Hot sat just behind. He's the 6 horse who's angling out and moving by. I think Stay Hot's obviously logical, but the horse who ran 3rd that day is the one that we're going to move on to next and talk about, and that's the number 5. We'll heard it as Atitlan, Atitlan, heard it pronounced a couple different ways. When this runner stepped on the turf, he just really improved. His career debut was on the dirt and it was sprinting. And then career start number 2, he went a mile on the turf. He was 35-1 and he got up late. He was flying. Came right back in the La Jolla, and he showed that that was no fluke. He finished 3rd, but he had some trouble before the part of the race we were watching. He got stopped multiple times. He wanted to go and had no room. He tried to go again, had no room. It was almost the 3rd or 4th time he was actually being asked for a run that he responded and moved to the front end. And then he was unfortunately gobbled up a little bit late. But I think he continues to step forward. That was just his second start on the turf and second start going long. He's a major player in here. Formidable Man, the 6th grade 2 placed Oceanside winner, comes off of that victory that we watched just a few moments ago. And that was so cool to see for him because he had always been just a speed horse. And he showed that if he misses the break and has to come from way out of it, he can still win races when things are up against him and when he doesn't get everything his own way. So, with that new dimension, with the ability to pass horses and to show that he has speed as well, I think he's one of the horses to beat, no doubt. He's a major player, and he's just really tough for me to knock overall. Let's round out the field with the number 7, Curlin's Chaos. This one is a wild card who I'm expecting to show some speed because that worked out so well for him last time out. Curlin's Chaos had never really been that quick. He'd been a horse who would come from more off the pace, more mid pack, and then in the Real Good Deal, going 7 furlongs on the dirt, he showed legitimate fractions that day, going 44 and 3 to the half in a dirt sprint, and with the outside draw, with the coming off of a 96 buyer speed figure that was earned that day, that was on the dirt. I'm just thinking they're going to get aggressive. So I will treat this horse like a wild card to the outside. I will use him underneath as we move to the selections here. I'm going to put the 5 on top. I think with just a couple races on the grass, there's still some upside for this horse who is bred for the turf and actually bred to go long on the turf. In fact, the Dam won races going 1.25 miles and 1.5 miles on the grass. So I think he has some improvement in him to try to turn the tables on horses like Stay Hot, who's really, really nice. Formidable Man, obviously logical. And then I'm going to round out the field with Curlin's Chaos to the outside, who I'll treat like a wild card. So I stacked them 5, 6, 4, 7 in here. However, you're playing the races on Sunday at Del Mar. We wish you the best of luck.